Alright, here we go. Let's unbox the Switch. So this is the gray Nintendo Switch. I couldn't find the neon one. The neon one seems to be pretty much sold out everywhere. But when I went to go pick this up, and I pre-ordered this one thinking that they would eventually give me the option, but they didn't. They had just sent me over the gray Switch. So here we go. Look at that. Oh, it's so nice. So just want to run through the box real quick. Here's the front of the box. It has, of course, the Switch. You'll be able to see the difference between the gray and the neon one depending on what you see on the printed image. This is the gray, as I mentioned. It's a pretty nice looking box. It has pictures of kind of every way that you can use it, right? Kind of on tabletop mode, where you can do the controller here. You have this handheld controller. You can control it this way to get to go. I just didn't see a TV anywhere. There's a Switch again. And oh, here's the dock side. So here's the docks, here's the hand straps, and 2-player mode, for example. So yeah, so that's pretty much the box for the Switch. And let's go ahead and open this thing up. I think there's a particular way. If I do it like this, there we go. So there's the Switch. I'm covering up the code. But anyways, here's the setup. You just, 1, plug it in. 2, plug it into your console. Snap the Joy-Cons, and that's pretty much it. You're ready to go. So I guess I'm assuming the system will walk you through it. But yeah, it's pretty neat. So let's put it this way. First off, we have the Joy-Cons. Here is the right Joy-Con. There you go. We have the left Joy-Con here. And the left Joy-Con has looks like a directional pad. It has arrows instead of the A, B, Y, X buttons. This has the home button on the right side. On the left side, I think that is a Amiibo scanner. You have the 2 thumbsticks. You have a couple buttons here on the inside. These are called SL and SR on both sides. And then you have the sync button. There's also a plus and minus button at the top right here. And then you have your bumpers, right? Your triggers and your bumpers here. So you actually have 2 on each console. I'm sorry, on each Joy-Con. So that's pretty neat. So you pretty much have all the buttons you need. The D-pad's a little disappointing. It would be nice to have a full D-pad on that. But what can you do, right? Nintendo does its own thing. And of course we have the console here itself, but we'll get to that last. Let's take this off. The packaging's a little bit to be desired. I kind of wish they put a nicer setup, but if it keeps costs low, right? But we have the adapter. Here's the power brick, if you want to call it that. It's pretty hefty on this side, but at least it's not in the middle, right? Here it is. It's a USB-C charger. Here is the HDMI cable. It comes with an HDMI cable, which is kind of nice. It's a little short, but not that big of a deal. We have the straps for the Joy-Cons. And I believe these probably strap just on the side here. Yeah, so kind of like that. And then you can just put this on your wrist. But we have 2 of those. One for the left, one for the right. Comes with buttons that you can push down for the SR and SL. In the middle, we have the grip. This is the Nintendo Switch grip. At least that's what I'm calling it. This is where you can go ahead and slide the Joy-Cons, I believe, on here. So there we go. And now you kind of have a full, controller. Man, it feels awkward. It feels really, really awkward. I kind of want to wrap my hand around underneath it here, but I can't because of the Joy-Con, right? The way it's built out. But as you can see here, there's also like an infrared sensor below. I'm assuming that's also to be compatible with like a lot of Wii games and Wii U games. And use that for 1-2 switch, where you're making like an eating motion. That's one of the games you have, and it's supposed to be able to sense that and sense objects and shapes of objects. And as I did on the presentation, they did like rocks, scissors, paper. And it's supposed to detect your hand gestures. And it has something called HD Rumble inside the Joy-Cons, but I haven't seen in actual use yet. I don't know if you were just waiting for the games to actually utilize that or what. But here we go. This is the dock. So this is what you'll actually be docking the Switch into to plug into your TV. And on the back, putting your HDMI out here. Your HDMI cord goes from here out to the TV. You have a USB port here, and you have an AC adapter port here. This is where you actually plug in this adapter brick into the dock. And then you can charge your Switch using the dock, and you can charge the Joy-Cons as long as they're attached to the Switch console, and the Switch console is in the dock. and that kind of just hides the wires, I guess. But it's pretty simple, you know. It's a pretty simple solution for what it does. That's pretty much it in the box. We have, of course, we have safety instructions, health warnings, all that kind of business, but who cares about that? I sure don't. I'm healthy, I'm safe. And let's get to the console. And here we go. Here is the console. With the Joy-Con controllers, this is about 0.88 pounds in weight. Without the Joy-Cons, it's 0.66 pounds. It's a 6.2 inch LCD screen. It's 1280 by 720. So you're going to be doing 720 gaming on here, not 900, not 1080, definitely not 4K. The CPU/GPU is an NVIDIA custom Tegra processor. So it's kind of a mobile processor, but from what I understand, it's a little souped up to give it some more performance. The storage is 32 gigabytes of storage inside the Switch. However, the system UI is actually using a portion of the storage. So really what it comes down to, I think it's like 25 gigabytes of storage, something like that. So you'll definitely want to buy a micro SD card, which this is compatible with. The video output is actually up to 1080p via HDMI and TV mode. So once it's docked into its Switch dock, it'll output to 1080p. When you're actually just using the Switch this way, handheld version or whatever you want to call it, it's 720p. So pretty neat, not bad. I like the fact that it goes up to 1080. As far as the battery, they're saying you'll get about 3 to 6 hours worth out of this thing when it's undocked. For Zelda, they're reporting about 2.5. So still not bad. That's really not a bad thing for a full powered, like a full home console built mobilely for a game such as Zelda. But let's go ahead and go over the console. So there's the front of the screen. You actually have on the side here, this is where you put the Joy-Cons. On the left and right, you just slide them in. On top, we have the power button. We have the volume rocker. We have a vent, which we can see the heatsink inside. We have the 3.5 millimeter jack. We have here on top, this is actually where you'll be putting the carts, because it uses carts for this thing. So it's very similar to the 3DS, where you just use a cart and you plug that in. On the bottom here, you actually have speakers, left and right. And here, we have a little stand. There's a video from CNET, which is like StandGate or something like that, where someone's just knocking it around. It's stable enough. It works just fine. You're not going to be moving this thing while you're playing. It's just going to sit there idly while you just have the Joy-Cons in your hand or a Pro Controller, whatever you want to use, and it'll just stay there, and it works perfectly fine. On the bottom behind the stand, though, you have the port for the micro SD card. So when you get your card, just go ahead and put it in there. That is the Switch. Let's turn it on. And we're greeted by Nintendo. There we go, the Nintendo Switch. So that was my unboxing of the Nintendo Switch console. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this type of content, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that very much. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comment section down below. And stay tuned for some more Switch coverage. Peace out.